And today my adventure begins right here in the town of Blacksburg, South Carolina. Standing here on the corner of East Cherokee Street and North York Street. Good morning, my friends. Welcome back to the channel. Hitch, hiking, Yeti here. Thank you so much for joining me today for this little adventure. We're going to be doing a little walk and talk around the town of Blacksburg, South Carolina. We're going to look at some of the numbers of this town, the income, etc., crime rate, demographics, and just see what Blacksburg's all about. Talk a little bit about the history. Have myself a coffee this morning because it is quite chilly out here. It's about 36 degrees. And it just stopped raining, thank goodness. And there for a moment this morning, we had a chance for some mixed precipitation. Snow rain mixture, maybe sleet. But I think all that is starting to clear out now. So I'm going to go ahead with my vlog today and get started. And there's some very interesting structures in this town. And this is one of them. Look at this place. What do you think this used to be? I love that roof. I think that thing is awesome. It's really cool looking. You can tell this is from a much older time period. But that is really awesome. It's actually got this connected like brick garage to it, which, you know, is built totally different than this building. But all in all, that's kind of what we're going to be doing today. We're definitely going to be looking at a little bit of architecture, looking for ghost signs around town. I've already seen a few as I have arrived. So if you're ready, I'm ready, my friends. Let's go ahead and get our day started here in Blacksburg. Okay, and right here is the Blacksburg Volunteer Fire Department here in town. And I think they need to fix their sign up there. Their G's missing from Berg. But it's a nice little small town. Population is 2,101 souls. And the median age for this town is actually quite young for an old town like this. It's 32. 32 years is the median age here. Okay, I made my way up here to kind of the center of town. Kind of give you an idea of what some of these buildings look like. Look at these old buildings. Now these are quite abandoned. There's nothing in these row of buildings right here. But we do have a little bit of life being breathed in right across the street. And we're going to go look at that momentarily. But first of all, I wanted to stop right here and check out this awesome ghost sign. Coca-Cola in bottles. That's a good one. I like that one a lot. So right here, this pink building is the spot that I bought my coffee this morning. And it's called Parkin' Latte. And lucky for me, it just opened. It's only been open at the time of this recording about a week, the lady told me inside. She was very nice. Gave me a lot of good information about the city, the town, where she's from. She is not originally from here, but it's very pleasant to talk to locals and that know the area pretty well and talk to you a little bit about the things that are changing. And she claims there's a lot of things changing, a lot of stuff, a lot of opportunity here once people get their foot in the door and get things happening. And they definitely got something happening because they got some really good coffee at Parkin' Latte. You can't come to a small town in South Carolina without seeing a choo-choo. That's just how it is. I feel like my day's complete now. Okay, so I made my way down here to the corner of East Church Street and North Shelby Street to show you the train tracks here in town. And these train tracks had a lot to do with, as so many southern towns, the growth of the town. This area that become Blacksburg grew around the railroad stop here in the late 1800s. A man by the name of John G. Black, who was a Confederate veteran, persuaded the railroad to lay tracks and build a depot, which led to the community being known as Black Station, which was incorporated in 1876 and later officially renamed Blacksburg in 1888. All right, so next up, let's talk about demographics of Blacksburg. So 73.54% of the town is white, 21.89% of the town is black, 0.95% of the town is Asian, 0.33% of the town is American Indian, and 3.28% is mixed race. So next up, let's talk about income. Income per capita here in Blacksburg is $14,421, which is well below the South Carolina $25,521 and also well below the national average of $29,829. And then when we look down at the median household income, which to me is the most important, it's $19,316. That is not very much, folks. And that is well below the South Carolina $46,898 and the national at $55,322. And then when we scroll down a little bit further, here's another big number that you're not really going to be proud of. That is the poverty level. Poverty level here in Blacksburg is 28.4%, well above South Carolina's 17.2% and the national average of 15.1%. But hopefully with the things that's happening here in town, these numbers can change in the next few years. Okay, so I wanted to take a little bit closer look at some of these brick buildings just to see if you can see what kind of condition. Like that in there is not too bad. Looks like they might be doing some work inside, but it looks like it might have some moss growing in there, a little bit of flooding. And then when we look at this place, they actually have a keep out sign up. Look at the ceiling, look at the back side of this place. I mean, they're probably just gonna have to just knock this place down or whatnot, because that is really, really bad. It is just falling in. And I was just curious about that one because of a lot of times when you go to these small towns, you see the upper windows all boarded up like that. A lot of times that means there's some real structural damage going on the inside. All right, I made my way over here to this building right here with this 1898 stamped right over top of the door there. This here is the Blacksburg Police Department now. But originally, supposedly this was a Masonic temple here in downtown Blacksburg. And Masonic temples were used by Freemasons for meetings. So that is pretty cool. And as you can imagine, this building was actually built in 1898, and that is what that date is right there. That year is just stating it was built in 1898. So that is really wild. This here, the old Blacksburg Police Department here, was formerly a Masonic temple. So let's talk about crime for a minute. Here in Blacksburg, the crime rate is 2,395 per 100K, or you can just round it up and say that's about 2.4 per 1,000 people, which is right on par with South Carolina's 2.4 per 1,000 people. The national average is slightly lower than Blacksburg and South Carolina at 2.1, but when we look at the percentages, the total crime is 13% higher than the national average here in Blacksburg. The violent crime is 42% lower than the national, but property crime is actually 24% higher than the national average. Okay, and check out this mural right here stating the name Iron City. And the reason it states that is because the nickname of Blacksburg is Iron City because of the large quantities of iron discovered here nearby back in the 1890s, which brought a short-lived boom as people flocked here hoping to profit from mining. Notice all the lampposts here in town. All the streets, you have these black lampposts that lines the street. And that brings me to another fun fact about Blacksburg. During its boom period, Blacksburg became one of the first towns in South Carolina to install electric streetlights, thanks to the wealth generated from the iron rush. How cool is that? That is awesome. So Blacksburg is known as the Iron City. I told you that earlier, but little did I know they actually have a Iron City festival that happens every spring right here. And it typically it's around April normally is the typical month where this festival would be put on. And it's really cool. It's like an annual street festival that they do. It celebrates the town's mining heritage, and they have like live music, crafts, vendors, and it really draws people from all different regions around South Carolina and North Carolina to come here and celebrate the Iron City heritage of the town of Blacksburg. Okay, so earlier we was walking down North Shelby Street, and I was showing you the buildings there, the building fronts. Now this here is the back side of some of these more abandoned looking buildings. So this is really fascinating. I wanted to know what brought the roof down. I think I found out there's a tree growing inside the building. Look at that. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like that before. It tore the bricks up, went right up the wall, and sprouted out the ceiling.
In the building, and it has destroyed all 3 properties. And what's going to happen is the facade on the outside, there's a grant that came through.
Yeah.
And so the facade on the outside is going to stay, and all this is going to be renovated into apartments.
All right.
But so there's a grant that came through that's going to restore all the fronts of all the buildings.
Dang, that is unbelievable.
Don't know when. But so these are completely like unstable. You can really see it from the front too. Look at it.
Yeah. All right, thank you. So the nice lady that fixed my latte this morning just described to me, this is called the tree building. As you can see, the tree just grew up inside the building and just wrecked it. I ain't ever seen anything like that before. But they are going to tear it down and rebuild. But my goodness, that is something else. I mean, this is like some Jack and the Beanstalk stuff. That's amazing. So as the video is starting to wind down now, I showed you the town of Blacksburg. We've talked about some of the numbers in behind the town. But now I want to go see, I want to drive through the communities a little bit, kind of look at some of the housing around these parts. Very interested to see the housing, just because, mainly because of the low income numbers that we've seen, to kind of see, is there a lot of abandoned stuff here in these communities, or is there still a lot of, sometimes you have communities with like, you know, some issues, but you still have really nice homes. All right, I've made my way back in the truck now to warm up. Just want to kind of cruise around and look at some of the housing, look at the communities a little bit. See what we're dealing with here. Boy, that's an old place. It's got lights on and power, but the windows are out. How bizarre is that? But boy, you can really see the age in some of these old homes. All right, I want you to look at this place right here along the railroad track. But this home right here, when I looked it up online, supposedly it was built in 1890. This is probably one of the older homes here in the town of Blacksburg. That is awesome. I mean, look at this place right here, this old brick home. Looks like they're doing some revitalization. I see a ladder up there on the upper level. Yeah, that's really nice. That's really good. Just driving along the countryside, there's a lot of stuff out here in this area. These people have a lot of things in their yard, that's for sure. Right here, this place here, they got a camper. I kind of wanted to drive up through here because they have a fish camp. This is like an old fish camp. They got an old Coca-Cola sign right here at this location. Check this place out. Bailey's Fish Camp. That old Coca-Cola sign. That is pretty cool. It's just old cinder block building. You would never know this place is back here. This is obviously locals only. Because you're on the back roads right now. Back here in this area, that's for sure. So this area right here is known as Cherokee Falls, and it's just outside of Blacksburg. And I gotta tell you, I don't think I have ever seen anything quite like this in the Carolinas. This almost gives you a feel of like a mill village type of a vibe. Almost even coal mine village. It feels like West Virginia to me, a little bit. I mean, everything, you're on the side of like a mountain almost. Big old hills. Look at all the houses over there. And they are not in good shape neither. They have a lot of work going on. And this location right here is called Booger Jim's Hollow Haunted House. That right there. I love that street name right there. It's called Doolittle Street. I used to have a friend growing up. His name was Doolittle because he didn't do anything. And this right here in Cherokee Falls, is a place called Herbie Famous Fireworks. How bizarre is that? I would have never thought that would be back here. All right, let's continue on. All right, this here is my final stop today. This here is known as Cherokee Falls. Here just outside of Blacksburg, South Carolina. What a day. What an awesome little town. Being revitalized. I know it looks a little rough in certain places right now, but it's a project, and I think it's a project that will succeed. Everyone I spoke to today had bright spirits, and like they're pumped that other businesses and shops are being opened in there in the area. And I gotta say, I'm really happy for them. This was a fun little visit today, and I got to see some interesting places, even outside of Blacksburg, driving down here. A lot of old abandoned homes along my way, and people just had a lot of stuff in their yard. But hey, you know what? It's the South. There is no HOA in these neighborhoods, so you can do whatever the heck you want. That's what makes it interesting. So, all that being said, my friends, thank you so much for watching today. I really do appreciate it. Until next time, I am the Hitchhiking Yeti, and I will see you in my next adventure. Y'all stay safe, and hope to see you all again soon. And say so long to Blacksburg, South Carolina for now. Who knows? We might end up back here one day. Love to come back in a while and see how it's changed. See what buildings have been removed, things like that. Definitely that building with the tree growing up in it. I'm glad I documented that, because I got a feeling if I do show up again, yeah, that will be long gone. That's going to be something else by then. Very peaceful out here.